Hello guys, my name is Nelson
My name is Bruno.
and Happy New Year. This is the first episode from
That's
2018. It's a pleasure.
I forgot.
Hope you guys have enjoyed the break,
Yeah.
you know,
Christmas
between
and
Christmas
all
and New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
So welcome aboard. So new topic, new episode. As you could see, today we're gonna talk about Kanban, as you can see over here. As I was talking to Bruno, there is a lot of content on the web,
Oh
so
my
we're gonna try to make this one short, which is
We always say that.
we're
we always
always
say
trying. But we have a new guest, which is our Elmo Jr.
I would
skateboarder
say new co-host.
co-host.
Yeah, he's the third co-host, Elmo Jr.
Alrighty, so we're gonna cover today, which is one of the controversial things on Agile, because we see a lot of people saying, "Oh, I'm gonna use Scrum, or I'm gonna use Kanban, Scrum Band." So we're gonna just try to give you guys like a briefing about what it is, how we use, and what we are learning, because every day we learn something different over Kanban.
Yeah.
You know, the curious thing is, I teach him a little bit about Kanban, but now he teach me a lot about Kanban.
We learned together. That's,
Okay, but
yeah, but hey, he
I
taught
gave
me,
you the flavor, and
he
you
taught me a
just
lot about
got crazy.
Kanban.
He got crazy. He
Well,
just
you
loved.
planted the seed because I didn't know what Kanban really was. I knew the basics, so let's use that. Like I learned, I knew that we had like to do, doing, and done for the basic stuff. We started talking, and a lot of insights came. So he was my kind of like a coach on Kanban in the beginning, and I was like, oh my god, I have to learn this. This is amazing. And now I'm like completely in love with this thing. I have a personal Kanban in my house, one in my office, one for the program, the Agile Group Study, and we have one for the talk show.
He's just crazy about Kanban.
I love Kanban. But Kanban is so much more than, to do, doing, and done. It's a management system, very effective one. And what we have to show you guys is a more complex. It's like a evolved kind of a version, right?
I think that people might be, every time they will learn and they will add something over the Kanban that will visualize the work. So just to give like an introduction, we always say, these Japanese guys are crazy because, there is another technique built in the 40s. They used to, the first time it was applied on Toyota, because they would like to understand where the pain points, where part of the manufacturer, vehicle, cars manufacturer, where, what could be something that could be improved. But, the main thing was, as Bruno said, visualize the work, understand the pure phases and where things are, doing during manufacture, right? So we're not going to do, such deep introduction about where the Kanban comes from, but show you guys how to use it and how we use.
Yeah. And how old it is, right? It's very old.
40.
So it came so much longer than Agile was ever created.
Cool. Awesome.
But Agile consolidated a lot of tools and practices into one thing. So I think is the beauty of it, right? You can adapt using some parts of whatever is recommended to make Agile even more effective for your own group.
I would say that it's pretty much a customizable thing.
Philosophy, if you will,
Yeah.
way of working. All right, so should we go straight to the board?
Straight.
So we have an example that we created on Mural. This is not sponsored by Mural. I've seen many YouTube videos where people mention tools and other companies, and they always say that it's not sponsored because I don't know. But we've been using Mural for a remote working kind of a situation where we can access this from our house, from the road, and it is good. But we created our own kind using Excel and spreadsheets. So that's one way, and it's basically the same. So we always recommend, right, using boards in a physical manner. So this
another way, another way that people might listen about Kanban, it is wall of work, right? So I think that before going to a deep Kanban, as you will see in a minute, most of the people, they try to do at home or maybe to do their personal thing, which is what I need to do, as we call to do, what I'm doing, which people call as in progress or doing, and what are the things I have completed, which people call as done. But we understood, and most of the people understand, that between to do and done, there is a lot of things inside, right? Because when we are talking about prioritization, and when we are saying that we are doing something, it's pretty large, and could be a lot of things between when you start until the end of the something you are doing. So that will be something you guys will see over this board. That the tuning part of the Kanban is to understand that there is um, a lot of things between to do and done, and which is we are gonna try to do like in a fast way to show you the phases and the processes and blah blah blah. So don't get scared. Like Kanban is pretty much a wall of work where you have this, things to do, doing, and things you have complete.
And the next level is that Kanban can help you, not only maximize delivery, but actually measure delivery. So we're going to talk about that too. All right, let's go right into it. So this is a little big because...
Let's jump the mic.
Yep.
Ciao, Mike.
It is a little bit big for, our room.
I would do like this.
Go back a little bit on your side. Thanks. Yep. So it is a little big for, our room because we use this for the workshops that we run here. But start with your side.
That's why
don't do that.
I'm gonna just do this.
Just
so people can read
for them. It's better.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, to put closer to read, but we have one single column, which is we say that the Kanban, there is 3 columns that are standard and should remain on Kanban, which is the two first ones, and the end one, which is done. So the first one, as we call product backlog or just backlog, and then the second column, which is sprint backlog, that most of the people using Scrum might call as a sprint backlog, or the Kanban fans, which use only Kanban, we call replenishment queue, which means the things that were prioritized before the sprint. So the moment that we have covered over other episodes, which is a moment that the team will visualize the backlog and they will decide what will be done over that sprint.
Right. So just go a little bit back because you disappeared. Yeah. We can post a picture. I'll share a picture with them and they can follow with the picture.
Cool.
Basically, you guys can see that there's, like Nelson was saying, there's this whole center area dedicated to the process columns. And that this whole area is the doing. When you're talking about development teams, you will have at a minimum 3 phases of work, which is development, and then testing and implementation at a minimum. Some teams don't do testing, but that's a different story. We will share like a video on this guy that gives an incredible presentation on Kanban as well to add as a content. But the idea here is that whenever you map your process, regardless if it's a development process or a operation process like HR or procurement, it's important for you to, before creating your Kanban in this level of detail, just make sure you run some sort of either value stream mapping workshops or any kind of activity that you can eventually have a mapping of your process. So the example that we have here is like 6 process steps. And then the way the system works is before starting, you have to determine the work in progress limits. It's very interesting, but at the same time was a little bit hectic at first to understand how that works. But the easiest way that I've encountered for calculating this and correctly applying a limit, which means applying a maximum of tasks. So maximum of tasks per process step, right? So the easiest way to calculate is to find the process that is more time consuming for your specific process. So if you have like development, will be more time consuming than like planning or testing, then you apply a limit of the maximum of people in your team that have the skill for that particular process. The the purpose for that is that you know that the process that is more time consuming will never be overburdened. What I mean by that is you will never have 5 tasks ready to be done in that particular process because that process will take too much time and you won't be able to deliver. Whenever you define that, the process before that, you cannot apply more than half of that total. So if you have 4 people that do that process, so for the process 4 is the process that we, for this example, has a limit of 4. So there cannot be more than 4 tasks in this column. Everything before cannot be more than 2. The reason is that creates a funnel. So that's the first thing, the main thing that I wanted to share from my perspective is this is a real funnel of work. You have a backlog for your product or your project. You have a sprint backlog which will help you already funnel the work based on story points and velocity. And then within the process lanes, you have again a funnel created by the work in progress lanes. I think this is the best feature so far for me.
Yeah, it makes sense because it comes the thing that we always say that accepting more doesn't mean deliver more, because in some time in here you might have like processes that might take longer than other ones, so you might cause blockers. And when we are talking about, we will say in a minute about metrics and how to evaluate, you will see that maybe the wrong limiters might affect the results of the metrics and how you could improve the processes itself. So it's pretty important that you guys understand that maybe it will be, as Bruno said, will be harder at the first iteration, the second iteration, determine where will be the maximum for each phase or for each process. So maybe you will learn based on doing. You will see that sometimes some tasks will be stuck in some process. So you will need to understand that sometimes maybe you will need to determine a limit about the amount of things you guys can do. But again, it will be a way to visualize where the things are during the process. So VSM is pretty awesome, and I recommend because it was the way I learned, because each phase or each process might be phases come from the VSM. And the one thing that maybe Bruno might always will cover, there is 2 other areas in here that you guys cannot see, but Bruno will share. It is the pending line and also the urgent line. So maybe things might be prior, more important than other ones that you also need to understand, that also will be related to the work IP limit, that we need maybe to have room if you know that things might come, I would say, as a operation that you cannot precise when a SEV1 might come. Maybe the work IP limit, you will need to have like a room for.
I don't think they know what SEV1 is.
Severity 1 is like priority.
Maybe
priority
some people, but
one.
not everyone.
Things that are more important than other ones. Severity or priority. Yeah. Things that need to be faster, needs to be resolved faster than other ones. Right. So you have these swim lines that maybe if something comes with a higher priority, maybe you will need to understand how to measure about work IP limits.
Yeah, these two roles are simple. So specifically for operations, we have a lot of activities in between our processes. Different than development, we have in between process 3 and 4, we might have approvals or delegations or reviews to be done by other teams, and we call that wait time, right? Just go back a little bit because you're just...
No, really.
go back a little bit. This is making me crazy. It is better. So we're basically done here. So the reason why we have pending and urgent lanes, like he said, the urgent lane is simple, like he explained. The pending is also simple. You've done your part of the task C1, and there's an approval pending. You're not gonna leave it here because this is no longer being done. It's not being done, and it's not in progress. It's not either doing or done. So you are still doing it because there's something not complete, which is the approval, but it's not in the in progress row anymore. This is the in progress row. The reason why we do this is that we free space for more things to come. So it's yet another feature that we use for the funneling and the ability to speed up the throughput.
Yeah, and I like that one because meanwhile Bruno is saying, I start reflecting and learning and have questions. But for now, I think that is good. I'm not sure if you should put some limit over pending, because if you have a lot of things on pending process in a specific process area, maybe it is something that you might go and visit and do a VSM to understand pain points. Because if you have a lot of things that are under pending process, maybe there is a good opportunity to improve. Because otherwise, imagine that all the things start coming back, and and your work IP limit is reduced. Maybe you will start having blockers and processes stopped because you don't have the work IP limit in amount of number that you will allow you to accept more. Yeah. So maybe, and talking about this, when you have like a such blocker, maybe you can move people from different phases. If we are talking about multi-skilled people, to go to that process and as a task force, as a teamwork collaboration, to go to eliminate and finish all the work so they can go back to their areas, and for the next time they will visualize as a retrospective what happened, so the next time they will avoid maybe to accept more because of the pending process. Sometimes they might raise up and they will get stuck again between the process.
That's a good point. Last but not least, something else that we've learned from our coach, right? Steve Krago. Hey, coach. Kanban will help you measure mainly three main things: throughput, cycle time, lead time. So the cycle time is the time that you take by task. So you're gonna be able to measure how much each task is taking. That's the cycle time, right?
Well, I heard the lead time as we had two different ones. We got the customer lead time and operation lead time. The operational lead time is when the team decided to work on that activity. So it starts when over here, right, and goes to the end, which we call operation. That means the team start doing such activity, which is something good to measure, where you can also make connections with the cycle time, right? At the same time, you have the customer lead time that it reminds you that everything that comes and goes to the backlog. So there is a way you can measure how much time such card took from the backlog to the end of the process. So I learned the lead time as these two, right?
Right. And the last one is throughput, which is the amount of work delivered per sprint or iteration. So how much the team delivered, either in tasks or projects or features. That's basically it. And all of those are good because we'll determine how fast and how much you can deliver, which will eventually help you get better and set something that we always say, which is the temperature of your team, which you always should strive to improve. Right?
Yeah, I think that one of the things that these guys are playing over here is too noisy, so I'm sorry. But you should remember that as Bruno said, there is this area in here is 100% customizable, right? So you might learn and put some different names, and maybe you guys might thinking, oh, is it only work for DevOps or develop? No, it could be for anything. Imagine like you need to study, right? You need to conclude your workshop or something related to like study, as I was saying. You can put like a backlog, what you're gonna prioritize, and then the columns and everything you have done. So as Bruno said, he has his personal Kanban. I used to have mine, but I need to revisit. And 2018, I have a lot of things I want to do. So if you want to start something, put them to a wall. It doesn't need to be in that big in that way, but put the to do, doing and done, and start prioritizing, and you will understand that you will need to add some new columns, because more you use, more you learn, and you will see that you might need some insights from the board to tell you what you need to prioritize and get focused.
Yeah, and all these cool features, including like work in progress limits, having two backlog columns and all that, and they are very helpful to allow you to determine what's more important at that time and how much you are actually doing. And this goes back to some of the principles, right? Having your work visualize your work, having it every day there allows you to have a better management system and time management skills to actually get things done. It's very, very effective.
As you said, this is a true funnel.
True funnel. Yes.
It comes, it goes, and you complete. That's it. I hope you guys enjoy.
Yeah. Unfortunately, our time is short, and our area was not as large as we needed for the board, because this Kanban is a little bit big. But it's good to be this size. It fits well, the stickies and all that. We will share a picture to make it easier for you guys to read and follow through the through the items.
And I just said before we finish, you should guys use Kanban as a wall of work when you do the stand-ups, when you do the retrospectives and the showcases, because maybe you guys are doing operational things, which is closing tickets and resolving something that you don't. There is no way to measure that, but you can point it to the board and as a showcase. Here are the things we have completed into this sprint. These are the blockers we might have. These are the things we have done. And you move the cards meanwhile you are doing your stand-up. I have completed this, I will finish this, and I have blocker over here. So it's pretty powerful.
Yeah. And it can be fun. You can add pictures of your team members to make it more like we did. It is a very collaborative and fun tool. And I also talked to Fernando Juano, the other coach, which he told me that Kanban can, if applied correctly, it can allow us to eliminate reporting. So because generates such good metrics, it can help your team eliminate some of your reporting work, which is time consuming, right? Especially for operations.
Yeah, so that's why we encourage you guys to seek over the web. There is a lot of Kanban tools, and I'm not getting paid for that, but I just received an information that Google, over the Gmail, they put some Kanban for your personal stuff. So check it out. There is like an extension at Google or Google Chrome. Hey Google, pay us a little bit, okay? But there is a lot of tools you can see as a managing personal stuff. So check it out.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Seek for the ones that might give you the reports you might need, because maybe some of them doesn't have what you need as a reports.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, the video that we'll share in the comments, that guy he says he is bringing his team. He is a manager of the Xbox, one of the Xbox teams in Microsoft, and he says he was able to take his team to high levels of productivity. So
I don't doubt.
watch that movie as well, that video as well. It's very powerful.
Alrighty,
Kanban
guys.
is awesome.
Alrighty, guys. So hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Stay
Yeah.
tuned. Click over here, like. If you don't
Share.
like, comments, suggestions,
Yep.
what we can do to improve. This channel is for you guys. Okay, we are just two. I would say clouds.
Nut,
too
Two nuts.
crazy.
too nuts.
They are giving our faces to share a little bit about what we are learning.
Our learning, yeah,
This is
our
pretty
learning adventure.
much- Yeah.
Agile.
Thank you guys.
Thanks for the visit. See you next time.
Later.
Bye.
I just broke my
Whoosh.
finger. Later, man.
Sorry.